Hello and welcome to this week's Sunday Night Live. I'm going to be talking a little bit about some of the greatest manifestations that I've experienced personally and professionally, that some of my clients have, and some of the members of the Warrior Academy. And I'll be honest, on reflection, it has been so empowering, inspirational, quite cathartic as well, to revisit some of the things that at the time felt like magic. It felt like a coincidence some of the times. It felt like complete luck, right place at the right time. It got coined. So many things got coined or put down to those kind of things. And knowing what I know now and what I obviously do for a living and help other people to activate this part of themselves, it's no coincidence. No such thing as a coincidence. It is that simple. Us as humans have completely twisted the original meaning of a coincidence. And I will share as well, so definitely stay with us. I'm going to share a little bit about the upcoming manifestation challenge, which starts a week tomorrow. So Monday the 22nd. If you haven't already signed up to it, I'm going to recommend that you do. It's that simple. Whether you are new to the manifestation thing, or some people like the law of attraction, energy, that kind of thing. And if you think, I'm just going to say it straight out, I'm going to do a post about it after. If you think that this stuff is just for the gurus, for the coaches, for the goal setters, business, no, you could. And you'll see in those 5 days, give me just 30 minutes of your time per day, 20 to 30 minutes on an evening. You can watch it back on replay. And I will debunk and demyth and show you the science behind it, how you can really start to tap into and utilize this energy that you have. You're doing it already. And I'm going to be helping you to guide and manage this magic that you have within you. And hell, I'll throw my hands up and say the challenge is called Do Less and Manifest More. And I'm going to be sharing why and how that is possible. And I mean it from the bottom of my heart. It is possible. It's possible for you. So I'm going to get cracking with just sharing a few stories, little insights about some of the manifestations that have come through. And I'm actually going to save some for the challenge as well. So these are just a few. So one of the first ones that came to my mind was my car. Now, these may sound the really typical vision boardy things, but I'm going to share loads of different ones over probably the next few weeks as well. So my car, so at the time when I put this on my vision board, I was driving around in a Hyundai Coupe, and it was my brother's hand-me-down car. It sounds cool. It was a little sporty car. It felt like a go-kart. It looked like a go-kart. I thought it looked cool at the time. And it was his hand-me-down one. I think I paid 750 quid for it. And he paid double that. I don't know how I winged that, but there we go. And I remember driving around sat on the floor like the Flintstones basically. And I used to pretend, and I'd sit my seat up really high and pretend I was driving around elevated up, because I used to want a car where, not a big 4x4 or anything because the emissions, but I wanted something where I was up higher. And I used to physically stretch my neck and pretend, and it was just in my mind I was driving a different car. And I put it on my vision board. It was a Hyundai Tucson, and I wanted it in gunmetal grey. The image that I typed into Google, that's the image that was on my vision board. So when the time finally came and I was blessed and I felt in a financial position enough to be able to afford to get that, I started looking, and I spoke to a dealership, and I was trading in my car and then getting a car back, and they told me how much it would be monthly, which was okay. And then they offered me a red one, a creamy white one, a black one. There was this dark emerald greeny coloured one, and I nearly settled for the black, to the point where we had the paperwork written up. I'd had it emailed over to me. I started filling it in, and I had this gut feeling inside me. It was like, you've come this far. Like, it's not the car from your vision board. So like, he wasn't impressed, but I was like, I'm gonna hang fire. And I'd been waiting like 3+ weeks at this point for the colours, and he was like, I've searched, there just isn't up and down the country. If there was one in Scotland, we'd bring it to you. There just isn't one. I was like, it's okay, I'm gonna wait. The next day, he rings me, and his words were, you jammy sod. Have you ever been called that? And you're like, yes. And I knew straight away, when you're a jammy sod, you. He was like, we've got what I would consider to be a dark grey one, from the way that which you've described it, not too metallic, not too this. And he said, but it's called Moon Rock. And I was like, that sounds good to me. And when he did his little tapping away, I literally didn't even see it. At this point, I was like, oh my God, I should really Google this, because I don't, but it was called Moon Rock. I was like, yes, I will take it. And then when he did all the tapping away, he was like, oh, okay, I could get it you actually. A little bit cheaper. It's not much taken off, but penny's a penny. And I can get it you now for £222. And again, like, I still hadn't even Googled at this point. I was like so excited. I was like, I'm in. So that is like one of the things. Another one that I wanted to share, some of you have heard this before, but the boys. I knew in my core somehow that I was going to end up with twins. And the weirdest thing is I used to always say, I don't want twins. I'm just being really honest. I'm going to share the light and the dark side of manifestation. And I was so energetically driven by this thing and fear of not having twins. I used to say it all the time. And then when I found out it was twins, you can obviously imagine the part shock, part the I knew it. And I had to explain to like my gay best friend, who I promised a twin to, when I was like, you watch, I'll have twins, you can have one. Like, literally joked about it. That I was like, it's twins. I knew it, and I knew it was going to be boys. And a part of that like inner knowing is part of the power of manifestation. And in the challenge, I am going to be talking about this. I'm going to come back around to how twins was the best thing that ever happened to me, don't worry. But there is a side to it where if you push and give resistance to something enough, that energy is strong. That energy is incredibly strong. And like this example, hello, 2 souls coming in at the same time. Like, my cycles had stopped for years at the time, like due to over exercising and God knows what else. And like, I just knew, we even turned away fertility support because there was a 10% increase of having twins. Like, I was like, no, oh my God, I've got to. And I was like, had this resistance against it. But what we resist persists. And that's what I'm going to be sharing more about, because you can start to have a look at your life. What is it you are pushing against that you're receiving? And for me, I lent into that. We had all the options under the sun. Like, technically we had options when we found out it was twins. I was like, no, like, this is it's going to be the best thing ever. There's a reason that this is happening. I fully trusted that. And oh my God, is it the best thing? Like, for me personally, I didn't realize that it was totally meant to be, and it was like the best thing ever. So totally manifested in the twins. There was, on that actually, the little celebration here, I won't name names, but a client of mine once came to me, her words, and I've still got it, and I've quoted it once in a post I did a while back. I need to work with you because I need to know what I'm doing wrong to attract, I'm not going to use the word, but head men. Use your imagination. Something head men. And I was like, I need to work with you because I like that kind of stuff. There's such wrapped beliefs and resistance and attracting. And when it comes to the relationship stuff, it's really, really fascinating to work with. So after a couple of sessions, we had debunked, done some healing work, released past limiting beliefs, looked at where this came from, why she was attracted to and manifesting in certain kind of men. And then it was the magic part, the manifestation. What do you want? We got crystal clear, and within 3 weeks, it was like he was peeled off a piece of paper. It got like freaked her out. She was like, how is this happening? What on earth? How does this even work? There we go. Thank you, Barbara. If I had an emoji pop up, that would be it. And she's now pregnant with him. And that was going back 18 months, probably 2 years now, very, very beginning of the pandemic. So I was possibly pregnant myself, or maybe just had the boys. So yeah, and she also had fertility issues. She got told she might not be able to have children, and yeah, it's just been another thing. When I got that voice memo through, I could feel it in my heart now. So yeah, there's another one. I'm coming on to the Michelangelo one very, very soon. So if you have just joined us, say a big hello. I love this kind of stuff. I love sharing the stories. And so I will just quickly answer Emma's question. Did you always have their names? I always knew one was going to be called, it was going to have the name William in. It's my granddad's name. And the only person that I ever remember learning about that really stuck with me from school was William Blake. And that name stuck with me from high school. William Blake. I was like, what a beautiful name. So Blake is Blake Martin William. Martin's Carl's dad, who we lost whilst we were pregnant. So Blake Martin William Reed. And then there's Carter Philip Patrick Reed. And Carter came to me, that's a whole other story, but Carter came to me not long before they were due, but I knew Blake was the bottom baby, like I knew him, and Carter was the top baby. And yeah, there's a whole other story. But what we didn't think through with the names is their initials, which is BMW and CPR. So yeah, they're not going to be forgotten anytime soon. God help them at school. So another one. Okay, I'll quickly go through a couple more and then coming on to the Michelangelo one, because it's my favourite ever story and I've never shared it. So a business one. So a client of mine, we had been working together for like a year, and his vision board had come to life. And you know when it's one of those vision boards, and I've had loads of clients actually. Christine Robinson, like I know she openly talks about it like quite a lot. She will say that she got to the point where she was like, I have nothing left on my vision board. Like, we need the next year one to come around. So we always say each time, we're like, oh, what's going on it? And this client had really dreamt big. He was a big believer in dreaming big, but he was a big believer in working hard. So he'd always put the time, the energy, the late nights into it. And we'd done a lot of work because he had like really, really bad anxiety sort of off the back of it, and some trauma which we worked on. And anywho, a year or so later, it's probably about 13 months after been working together, he was like, I think it's time. We've spoke loads about me setting up my own business. Something doesn't feel congruent working in this company anymore. It was earning like really, really good money. Very, very comfortable life. He had a big, beautiful house in Manchester. He'd manifested in the girlfriend, bought the dog, the beautiful car. He was like absolutely spot on. He was like, but I think it's time. I think it's time. So we got together, looked at what that could look like, and made a plan. And the plan was, his words, okay, I'm going to give it 6 months, and I want to save like 4 months worth of like wage sort of on the side. I want to have X amount in savings. And I was like, right, we need to write this down. So he wrote it all down, exactly when, how much, and that feeling. And I remember saying like, what will that feel like to hand in your notice? What will that feel like when you're setting up your own business, your name on it, you call the shots? Very excited about it. A little bit of the following week, he went into work on the Monday and his redundancy letter was given to him. So obviously I get a call instantly. Panic mode. But here's the thing. knowing what I know, and obviously this is my job, I was like, wonderful, this is fantastic. You didn't need those 4 months. He was like, but they've only offered me a month's wage in redundancy. Like, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? I'm not ready yet. I've not got this. I've not got... Okay, so, and we put a little bit of a plan together, and lo and behold, he came out with the exact amount that he wanted to save that was going to take him at least 6 months to do. He got him redundancy, set up his business immediately. He'd been working on his website, so literally just pretty much sort of press go. Trusted. The half of the session was, if this is meant for you, it wouldn't be happening. You're ready for this quicker than we had planned. Like, this is it. And in the first month, brought in 10K. And he's still rocking it. So when you think sometimes that when you're on this manifestation or you have a goal, and we're going to talk about this in the 5-day challenge, is when you have a goal, if the universe, whatever you want to call it, like your higher self, your life path, has a different idea that's going to be of benefit, better for you, it'll sort itself out for you. So for him, he was actually what I would call an energetic match to that long-term goal quicker. And I've got a good few clients. I'm going to see actually if they can share some of their stories, because there's one thing hearing it from me, there's another thing hearing it from like the horse's mouth. And he trusted. And it was like, holy crap, okay, let's do this. Emma, you are one. Drop me a message, because you've got loads you could share on manifestation. And this is the thing, it hasn't got to all be like the huge, great big things, like we talk about the house, the cars, like on a day-to-day basis. Some of the things that I wrote down at the bottom was I manifested in standing Kiss tickets. We had seated tickets, and I managed to manifest us standing. I visualized, I knew we were going to be at that concert standing, like not a shadow of a doubt. And everyone kept laughing at me, and there we were, stood up, and I caught on at the plectrum. 5-star holiday I won for me, Carl, and my dad. This house that I'm in now, I pictured it. I'll share that another time. Pieces of cake. I've manifested the exact pieces of cake I want, like every single time I order cake. You know, whenever you can see them, I don't know where that popped into my mind, but you know, when like you can see the food and someone's going, and for some reason you sort of see them look, and then they spin the cake. This only happened the other day. That's probably why it's in my mind. But I looked and I was like, I don't like the piece of cake that naturally she'll go for because the cake's cut her side. I was like, I want that one around the other side, but she won't be able to. She will be able to reach it, and she'll. If that piece of cake's meant for me, it won't pass me by. I got the goddamn cake. Weirdly, I watched her do it. She like spun it around, and you could see her face like, I don't know why I'm going to do this, but that's the piece of cake. I was like, thank you. You can do it. Like, we hear it all the time, don't we, about the car parking space, but I think that the key thing for this 5-day challenge is you'll realise that you're doing it already. But it's just, are you doing it to the capacity that's really serving you? Emma, oh my gosh, yeah, like that, we need to share. So, okay, the Michelangelo story. So if you've got this far, like, well done for sticking with us, but I'll quickly share. So the Michelangelo story. A guy I was working on a project with, actually, and I had to record a pre-recorded vision board workshop for his company. And he set me the challenge of doing it in 12 minutes. Like, you know how hard that is for me, right? So anyway, did it, got it done in 12 minutes, and we got chatting, and he was like, they're absolutely loving this vision board stuff, and anyway, we got chatting loads on emails, and he was like, I need to tell you this story about manifestation, and because he was like, I was not a believer in this stuff before. And anyway, he'd heard about this vision board thing, and like the year before, this is what sort of brought him into this network. And he'd heard about vision boards before, and he thought, well, I might as well try it. So he was like, let's see if this thing works. So he decided that he wanted in his garden, he'd seen it in a garden centre, this £300 statue, you know, like a sort of R height one, a statue, £300 one of Michelangelo. And he thought it would be beautiful in his big back garden in the middle. And he was like, so do you know what? He got himself onto Google, printed out a picture, put it up on his fridge, and he used his fridge as his vision board, which I just love. And I teach this in the vision board workshop, and I'll probably talk about this next week, don't worry. And anyway, he put it on his fridge, and he thought to himself, okay, I'm going to manifest in the £300 that I'm going to need to get this Michelangelo. I'm going to picture Michelangelo in my garden. 4 weeks later, he gets a phone call from an old friend that he'd not spoken to for years. And he works in a big theatre down south, in the props department, the props and the stage setting department. Answers the phone to him and he's like, hi, a quick catch. He was like, now this is a really, really strange one, but I just thought of you. Not too sure why, but I just thought I would give you a ring, just on the off chance. But we've just finished the whatever play of, I'm guessing it was Shakespeare or something grand and beautiful. And we've got this Michelangelo statue. And we're about to either pass it on to a different, but I just thought of you. And he just said, yes, I'll take it. And he was like, well, we'll probably need a few £100 for it to transport it up to you. But otherwise, like, is this something he was like, you wouldn't believe. And the guy then interrupted and said, but I have got to say, it's the original size. To which my friend said, then I've got to accept it. And he realised as he was on the phone, he went over to his fridge because he said his jaw just hit the floor, and he was looking at his fridge, and that was when he realised that the picture he had wasn't the one from the garden centre. It was a picture of the original Michelangelo, the 6 foot, whatever it was, 6 metre tall one. And I will share a picture. I'll do it next week in the challenge. But there's a picture of him in his back garden up the top of this ladder. Like, Michelangelo's penis is bigger than this than he is. It's the best picture ever. It lights me up so much. And he's the top of this ladder in his garden, and this huge Michelangelo statue billowing in the centre of his garden. And he said his whole row of houses can see it through their back garden because it's just like a skyscraper. And he said he wanted it because that was the evidence within like 4 weeks, and it came to about £300 to ship to bring it up and get it into his garden. I think he said he had to get a crane or something, but he said he had to have it for the pure, okay, I get it, that you have to ask for exactly what you want. So get really, really clear on what you want. I just love that story because we had such a laugh when he was telling us. So yeah, like that is just a small, very, very, very small handful of manifestation stories. I swear I could write a book with about 100 plus in there. But I would love to hear if you've got any manifestation stories yourself. Please do share with us. Either PM me, drop it below. I would love to hear. I'm actually looking and I've got way more written down, but I'll save them for another day. But how beautiful is that, Emma? Like, if that isn't a, like, because when he asked his, like, the guy, he hadn't spoken to him for years, and he was like, I don't know, I just thought of you. That is what I'm going to be talking more about next week as well. The connections, how it works, and the power of it is just beautiful. So yeah, definitely have to be very specific. Or you may end up manifesting in a penis larger than yourself. Never just mind the picture, it cracks me up. I love it. So, okay, little heads up then. So for next week, we have got exactly 7 days until the 5-day challenge starts. It's Monday the 22nd. I'm going to be coming live at 7:45 p.m, Monday to Friday. Max 30 minutes. I've got sessions at 8:15, so it can't physically go over. So it's not going to be one of those ones where you're like, we're sat here for ages. It's going to be about 15 to 20 minutes of teaching or sharing, and then there's going to be a task. For most days, there's going to be a 10-minute task. So as soon as that live is done, I'm going to recommend, absolutely yes, Emma, I'm going to recommend that you jump straight in, whether it's a notebook or something, and you put the task in. Like those 10 minutes can be so valuable for the trajectory of your life, especially as we're stepping into 2022 so soon. There's going to be some epic prizes, and I've just been sharing them with Carl, and he's like, wow. So I love prizes. I love giving away prizes. I probably love giving them away as much as I love receiving them. And I'll be giving you some tips on how to manifest in those prizes. Someone's got to win it. Why not you? What else? I'm going to share the link. I'm going to share the link again in this group. If you're on my email list, hold my hands up. You're going to be getting emails about it this week. If you have friends, relatives, colleagues, anyone, loved ones that you think would benefit from having a bit of a rocket up their butts, their minds opening beyond just like manifestation, woo woo. Like we're not going to be going down that route. It's going to be very much more sort of science and spirituality based. I massively believe in bringing those two together. And we'll be getting started in a week's time. I'm so excited. I love this topic, and I don't always get to talk about it all that much, but it is such a key part of our lives. And when you know, you know. I call it the not so secret. Because it's not a secret. It's not a secret. We do it. But it's also a secret. It's that thing. You don't know what you don't know. The unconscious incompetence. So I will love you and leave you there. Oh, yay, Lisa. I can't wait to. So I will love you and leave you there. I think we'll probably in the end have around the 100 mark in there. So the energy is going to be awesome as well. So sending you so much love. If you've not yet joined, I'm going to pop it below. If you're one of the warriors, you know what I mean, please feel free to head over to my personal profile and share the post that I'm going to do tonight. I'd really, really appreciate it. It just helps different people see it as well, and you just do not know who needs to hear this right now. Like we said, we talked about pregnancies, relationships, changes of career, mental health massively, plus all the fancy nice stuff in life, but it can really, really help with those innermost necessities. So have a great evening. I look forward to seeing you soon. Bye, bye, bye.